welcome once again to Real Shame. This is a show. This is a show. This is a show where this guy and this guy talk about our list of movie blind spots or our list of shame. My name is Andy.
And I'm Adam.
And on Monday's episode, we talked about a movie that I had never seen before, but now I've seen it. It's 2012's Battleship, starring Taylor Kitsch and Alexander Skarsgård and Rihanna, of all people. Today, Adam paired that with a movie that also has Battleship in the title, and that's probably about where the similarities end.
Yeah.
Well, it also has a battleship in it, thankfully, but it's Battleship Potemkin from 1925. And so let's talk about that one.
And it's a movie I haven't seen.
Yes, and a movie I haven't seen, or a movie I have seen. Sorry.
There you go.
But
so this is from IMDb. In the midst of the Russian Revolution of 1905, the crew of the Battleship Potemkin mutiny against brutal, tyrannical regime of the vessel's officers. The resulting street demonstration in Odessa brings on a police massacre in Battleship Potemkin. This was a movie that came out in 1925. I think as of this filming, it's the oldest movie we've seen.
I believe you're correct.
I think The General happened after this, which was the oldest movie we've seen.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what year The General came out, but you're probably right.
It's written by Nina, how would you say it? Agazanova, and directed by Sergei M. Eisenstein. Okay,
yeah. A little bit extra.
You're better at reading than I am.
Yes.
Yeah, viewers of the show know that already. This is a dramatized version of a mutiny that actually occurred in 1905, which I did not know. This is a movie I haven't seen and you've seen, but we've already established that. And also, since it's your week, let's throw it over to you. And what'd you think about Battleship Potemkin this time around? And was it your third time watching it?
It was not my third time watching it. It's my second time watching it. I saw it on Turner Classic Movies, I believe, way back in the day. I think this is a movie that I watched pretty early on in my film loving career, like when I first started being like, oh, I want to learn as much as I can and watch as many old movies as I can and whatever. And I used to watch Turner Classic Movies, TCM, religiously, and I would tape tape with a VHS tape. I would tape movies all the time, and I think this is one that I taped and watched. I think this movie is okay. I mean, it's hard. Like, I don't think this movie's entertaining, really. I think the movie is well made. I think that it has some really cool shots and cinematography and montage and cutting. And Sergei Eisenstein was kind of known for that. I mean, he was very gifted as far as his camera eye was concerned.
I thought you were going to say his hair.
His hair, yeah, we have a picture of him right here that maybe we'll show. But yeah, he got crazy hair in this photo that we're looking at. But I used that for inspiration. No, yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. The movie is really critically acclaimed and is made a lot of lists of greatest movies of all time. And in some polls, it is the greatest movie of all time. I wouldn't go near that far. I think it's cool to watch from like a historical perspective. Mm-hmm. I think it's an important movie, because of kind of what it talked about. The like you said, the actual beginning of sort of a Russian Revolution in 1905, and let's face it, probably the most well-known reason is the whole Odessa Steppe sequence, which we can get into later. But I find it watchable. And I find it cool to look at visually, but I don't get a whole lot out of it. Like, as I watch it, I'm just waiting for the Odessa Steppe sequence to happen. And then, the rest of the movie, visually, it's got some really cool stuff in it. And the version, at least that I watched, I thought the soundtrack was pretty good that they used to accompany it. I know there's several different soundtracks, I think, depending on which version that you watch. But I just kind of like it in a very clinical way. Like, I can appreciate it kind of for what it is, but it's not a movie. Honestly, I probably will not ever watch it again. Not that I hate it or dislike it, but I watched it for the show. I've seen it before. That's probably good enough for me.
Maybe for the reboot. When you find a different host.
If they remake it and have aliens in it, then I'll watch it.
Yeah, I know. That's what we need.
What about you?
Yeah. So I haven't, like I said, I think for the third time, I haven't seen this movie before. I agree with you 100%. It feels like a very clinical movie, and I'd almost say it's a documentary in the fact, like, maybe it's a documentary in where it kind of uh, films versions of the actual kind of events, but it feels very like clinical. It feels very scientific and that kind of stuff. Like it feels like a documentary to me, right?
Yeah.
And I think the biggest
It kind of is, in a way.
I think they like. I remember the credits, they had like a scientific advisor and stuff like that come on. So it feels like they actually were trying to, be as accurate as they can, right? So I think the movie doesn't really follow any kind of characters. There's not like a lot of characterization. There's not like one main person that you're kind of following through this.
No.
Which kind of, it's hard to like want to root for a movie that doesn't really have that. There's no one for you to latch onto.
Yeah.
Like I feel for what happens to the the people, I guess, are they sailors? I feel like they're almost like the workers on the ship and all that kind of stuff. And you feel for the people on the steps of Odessa and the people in Odessa. They're going through that, but there's really no like person that you can kind of latch onto and see like, oh, this is the guy. I think the closest is the was it Volochynuks, who kind of started the mutiny and then he kind of got killed, was maybe that guy for part of the movie.
And I was reading about it. He was a real person, and he really was killed by the guy whose name starts with G. I don't think it's in your notes, and it's definitely not in mine. But that actually did really happen. The Odessa Steps sequence is completely made up. There was no massacre on the. I mean, there is really an Odessa Steps in the Ukraine, but there was no massacre that took place on the Odessa Steps.
Yeah,
but a lot of it, the rest of it is kind of factually based and whatnot. So.
Yeah, and while I was watching this movie, I'm like thinking in my head, like, they really don't have special effects. So like when you see like maggot on the meat, I'm like, oh, it's probably real maggots on the meat.
Oh,
I'm like, and I'm trying to like thinking like, did they leave the meat out or they bring him over and stuff like that? Like that's very interesting. And that doctor dude is so short. Huh. Oh, he had the mustache and the crazy teeth.
Yeah.
So,
that guy. Yeah,
that guy. But the movie's kind of broken up into like 5 chapters, I guess you'd almost say. Like there's men and maggots, there's drama on the deck, a dead man calls for justice, the Odessa Steps, and one against all, I guess. And that's kind of what they're shouting and rallying together at the end of the movie.
You should read it in Russian. I see you've got the Russian translation there.
Yeah, my reading of Cyrillic's rusty. So.
No, but so it came out in 1925, as you said. Sergei Eisenstein was, I think, about 27 whenever he made this. So he's still pretty young, and he's a well-known Russian director. He made some other films that are well-known, but this is probably the most well-known. The events actually take place in 1905, so this was the 20th anniversary of this particular Russian Revolution. There's more than one. So in 1905, Russia had just gotten out of a war with Japan, which they lost. And so this is kind of, I don't think that really necessarily has anything to do with this, but at the time you had a lot of kind of unrest in Russia, and people were clamoring for change, and that's kind of what started this whole thing. The Odessa Steps sequence, though, of course, has been done by other people. I think most people know The Untouchables, which I know you're not
the biggest fan of.
But I mean, when I first saw The Untouchables, because obviously I saw The Untouchables before I saw this movie, and it has what we're referring to is the baby carriage going down the steps, because that happens if you've seen The Untouchables. That is a very famous scene from The Untouchables, because there's a whole like shootout with Kevin Costner and the gangsters and stuff that he's chasing, and this baby is going down the steps, and is the carriage going to get shot, or is it going to tump over, whatever. In this film, a woman has a baby in her baby carriage. She is shot by some soldiers that are trying to quell the rebellion, and she accidentally pushes the baby carriage back, and of course it goes back. And that is a cool scene. And there's some cool kind of tracking movements with the camera. I mean, the camera's not just stationary the whole movie. It actually moves some, and it moves kind of up and down the stairs, which I think is cool. And again, I think there were certain shots where, I don't know, because it was in black and white, I don't know if the sun was like setting or if the sun was rising, but the ship's coming in. I thought it was really, really cool. I think masterfully done as far as the visuals go. But yeah, it is almost like a documentary, and because it's documenting what happened.
Yeah.
Even if some of it is kind of fabricated, it's documenting what happened
It's
20
like a
years
recreation.
earlier. It's a recreation, right?
Yeah.
So
So the Odessa Steps was really cool. I think the first time I saw something based off the Odessa Step sequence was either Naked Gun 2 or Naked Gun 33 1/3.
Mm-hmm.
They parody that, which I'm sure they're not parodying this movie. I'm sure they're parodying the Untouchables.
Untouchables, yeah.
But that was the first time I saw like something like that, because I think it was like OJ's going after like the baby carriage or something like that. It's probably 33 1/3 is probably the one.
I think it is 33 1/3.
I'm sure that one played more on HBO than the other two, because they did the same thing with Another Stakeout. So they like played the sequels more than the original for whatever reason.
There you go.
But yeah, I'm glad we watched it. I know Kirby's a big fan of it. I didn't get to ask her why she likes it so much, but I know she's a fan of it. And I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad we kind of dug into this, and it held my interest. So I feel like that's a bad criticism to say, but
I was gonna say it's mercifully short. It's only short. About an hour and 16 minutes. So it's even if you can't stand it, it doesn't go on that long.
Well, I know that Siskel and Ebert and Malden weren't alive when this movie came out, but what do the reviews say about this bad boy?
So it is 100% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm not sure how many reviews they've got on there. I should have written that down. It's 86% audience score. Ebert gave it 4 stars in print on RogerEbert.com, and Malton gives it 4 stars as well.
All right.
They love it.
They love it. And maybe you'll love it too. You got to watch it and let us know. Yeah. Give us comments.
I mean, as far as I've seen, I feel like quite a few silent films, more than probably the average person. And given the choice between watching like a Buster Keaton silent film or Potemkin, I'm gonna go Buster Keaton.
Yeah.
Something like that. Even when it comes to other kind of foreign silent films, something like The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari or something would be more in line, I think, with my taste. Again, not that I dislike Battleship Potemkin, but it's just, I don't know.
So watch at least once kind of thing.
So watch at least once kind of thing. I've seen it now twice.
My bad. So. All right. On this Wednesday episodes, we always like to answer viewer questions, and we picked one out that is on theme, on topic today. And it's, what are some of your favorite ship movies? And I'm including warships. I'm including, battleships, submarines, maybe even a schooner or two. A schooner?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
schooner one, right?
Yes.
So I only have a couple, but you have more than me, so I'm going to let you kind of jump around or say what you like.
Before we started filming, I just kind of looked at a list, as we usually do. I actually think my kind of top ones are the same ones as yours.
They're probably everyone's.
I wrote down just some ones that maybe you don't think of. First of all, I wanted to point out the Seahawk, which we did on the show.
Which I liked.
Yes.
And then Pirates of the Caribbean works too, right?
You have that
on there too?
POTC, Pirates of the Caribbean. And again, I've only seen the first 2 of those now, but still, I mean, those are entertaining.
And I saw someone commented on the Seahawk a recommendation, so we're gonna do that pretty soon. I pulled that down. I don't remember off the top of my head what it was, but I do have it in my notes.
And then 2 submarine movies that immediately came to mind are the classic German film Das Boot.
I've never seen it.
And Wolfgang Petersen, Das Boot. Obviously, Wolfgang Petersen has gone on to make a lot of films in America, and he made Troy, Wolfgang Petersen. And U-571, Matthew McConaughey.
Which I've never seen, but I remember that box art so much about that blockbuster.
I saw U-571, and I think U-571, I saw it at the theater, I was going to say. I think that came out right around the time of The Perfect Storm with George Clooney. They weren't too far apart.
Yeah, that would make sense.
That's another one. I didn't put that down on my list, but that's another one that just sprang to mind.
I like this top one you have here, Master and Commander.
Master and Commander, Far Side of the World. That is a Peter Weir film that I could get behind.
Yeah,
I like that one
too.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that one didn't come to mind, but I really like that. I think it's a series of books.
Is it?
Yeah, so I think we need more Master and Commander.
Another one on my list here that I wrote down is a film that I think you watched not too long ago. It's Poseidon Adventure.
Did we watch it?
I think y'all watched Poseidon.
We watched
Adventure.
Poseidon.
Oh, you watched Poseidon, so the remake.
Yeah, the remake.
But same thing, pretty much. Poseidon Adventure, great. Well, I don't know about great, but classic kind of disaster film of the 70s, and then the remake, which came out, the mid-2000s, something like that.
Yeah.
And then so I'm just going to go through all these, and then we can just both say the top ones or whatever. I wrote down Triangle because technically that takes place on the ship.
Oh yeah, Triangle's the awesome
time
movie.
loop. Yeah, that's kind of a time loop movie. If you haven't seen Triangle, check it out.
Yeah, it's a high recommendation.
It's
for
on
Triangle.
some. I know I watched it on a streaming service not too long ago, so I think it's probably on something. It's Amazon Prime.
It's on Shudder, I'm pretty sure, and then it's got to be on something else.
And then the last one before we talk about kind of the top two big bad boys is one with Henry Fonda and James Cagney called Mr. Roberts. That's a good. I think it came out in the 50s, maybe 50s. Good movie. It takes place actually on a ship, a battleship or a destroyer or something like that. All right. So now
I noticed you didn't have Dunkirk on your list.
I did not. Dunkirk.
Oh wait, should we say Jaws? I meant Jaws, right?
Yeah, that counts. I mean, it's
definitely
they're on a ship. Much of that film. Sure, yeah, Jaws.
Well,
then that would be my top one.
Yeah. Same here.
We're going to talk about that. Jaws is the best. I love it. All right, so.
I'm gonna go with Roll Tide. Crimson Tide. With the it's directed by one of the Scott brothers. I think it was Tony, right?
Tony, yeah.
And the propelling, wonderful score behind that movie, which probably helps the movie out a whole lot in my book. It's a great movie. Crimson Tide's got to be on the list, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to toss it over to you for the last one.
Oh, okay. Well, it's on both of our lists, and it is the very first Jack Ryan film, the only one where Alec Baldwin portrayed Jack Ryan. It's, of course, The Hunt for Red October.
Which you watched recently.
Yes, I watched all of the Jack Ryan films. Yeah. Well, besides Shadow Recruit, but I like to forget that one. And I did not watch the television show, but yes, I watched the other ones.
Yeah, I like Hunt for Red October a lot. Even though it has Sean Connery as a Russian. And
Sam Neill.
Sam Neill, yes.
And, now that I'm thinking about it, we watched a movie recently that, how did it not make our list? Ghost Ship.
Ghost Ship. Oh, you know what? You just said that. It made me think of something else.
What's that?
Under Siege.
Under Siege.
Under Siege was the Seagal ripping out dudes' throats.
Under Siege.
Gary
so let's amend that and say Under Siege
Under
and Ghost Ship. No, not Ghost Ship, but Under Siege.
Yeah, Ghost Ship was rough.
Ghost Ship has that incredible, crazy opening, and then the rest of the movie is very sluggish.
Yeah, you watch like the first 15 minutes, and then you can just kind of do something else.
Agreed.
All right, I'm sure we left some off the list, but guess what? Now it's your turn. Why don't you tell us what are your favorite ship movies? Like I said, we probably missed a lot. We probably have some in our blind spots. So let us know what ship movies you like, and we will talk about it. You can do that by, if you're watching us on YouTube, leaving a comment below, or if you're listening to us through your podcatcher of choice, you can shoot us an email, realshame@gmail.com. We also answer questions like this at that email address, so shoot them to us, realshame@gmail.com. We're on social media. We're on Instagram, specifically at realshame. Like, subscribe, share, do all that kind of stuff with the show through the podcast and the YouTubes, because that stuff helps, and we really do appreciate that. And stay tuned next week as we cross movies off my list of shame, and we'll see you soon, guys. Bye.